avoided when it comes to the governance processes.
Maybe because it's of the political rhetoric that people are used to.
Yeah, it's just people are just used. They just feel like every time you talk about we want something to be done well, I think the first thing that comes to a Kenyan's mind is then don't use politicians.
Yeah.
But you were able to see this was a situation where we had both the technocrats and the politicians on the vetting panel. And not to say the others did not do very well, but I'm looking at what was generally applauded by the general public.
Yes.
And the general applause by the Kenyan public was basically actually on the names of the politicians.
Yeah.
So to me, it was also quite a win for the political class. So in my judgment is people are given the absolute best opportunity to really showcase what they need to do. And yesterday I was just doing my personal review of the vetting process and wrote an article about it and said, on a scale 1 to 10, I found maybe 2 cabinet secretaries, nominees, not quite up to the task, but one of them to me is an absolute no for me. But I was like, I don't want to say who my thinking is, because I'm not one of the panelists.
Before you go to the papers, Mwathi, do you think the vetting process met the public expectations?
Partly yes, because it was transparent.
Yes.
It was just in public. There was nothing that was hidden. Everything was people could follow. So that's one area that we have really moved ahead. I think as far as the quality of those who are being interviewed, maybe the public may not have been quite okay with number one. Even there were issues. First of all, with the risk,
yes.
Just as my brother said,
yes.
You see, we did not expect a good number from the old. So there was simply, when the public was coming into this, they had already a preset mind that this thing is wrong. But the way it came out, those who did it came out very clearly. Even if they were in the area cabinet, they really convinced the public that we are equal to the task. A good example is when the CS for Interior came out clearly and he was able to tell or to explain what he had done in his ministry for the few days he was there, until people came, unlike how the perception that they had before. They had a different view of, given that what had been done, or rather what had happened in the few months that he was in the docket that he was in. Yeah. So to the public, I would give, in a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give it 6.5.
6.5.
Yeah.
Can we also say during this process of the vetting of the CSs, it was also a time for Parliament to be vetted by the public, Mundalo?
Yeah, sure. It was absolutely time for Parliament to really try and redeem itself. And they really tried in terms of going the extra mile to push so hard to some of the questions they would ask. You'd be able to feel like they're not asking for themselves, but they're asking for the public. For instance, you would be able to see they were so keen on even the corruption allegation by the EACC to former Kakamega Governor, Honorable Paranya. They really tried to bring that out and just to see to it that matter is actually brought, the question is not just in public domain, but it's actually at the vetting panel. You are able to see what they did with the academic credentials of former governor of Mombasa, Honorable Joho. They really put him to task to it, which is actually a public expectation. Maybe probably if it was before the Gen Z uprising, maybe that question would not have come up in Parliament. But this time, it was really able to come up. So I was able to see parliamentarians really try to try and satisfy the public. You would be able to see the Speaker of the National Assembly reading the questions from the public, just directly from his phone. Together with, I also saw Junet Mohammed and a few others, including Honorable Caleb Amisi, who I even personally sent a few questions, and I was able to see those questions actually asked. So I just did that to also try and test and see, are they really reading messages from the public, or is it just another PR show?
Yeah.
But I was able to see that actually there was a real attempt to try and put to task the nominees from the questions of the public. So of course you can never meet 100% of public expectation, because again, we have public expectation that some people in the public just feel like even these were not the right nominees in the first place. So you would not be able to meet the expectation of such kind of a person. But I think we talk about just being able to certify beyond average. Yeah, because I think that is what would be normal, just beyond average. And I think above average, they were able to really certify the public. So we just await and see what is the report that they would be able to do. Sometimes, because personally I also feel there is a bit of inequality in the cabinet, where I feel the capacity of some cabinet secretaries is way higher than the others. Then I feel like, are they going to really sit in one cabinet? Because some look like they need lighter duties. Yeah.
Does it also speak to the skills? Do the skills match the job?
It's another thing that I really got to ask myself that, because, you know, cabinet is appointed by the president, and it's a reserve of the president to put a minister wherever the president wishes. Now my question was, we have based a lot of our questioning on the ministry assigned. So then what happens in a reshuffle? Because we have vetted you for environment, for instance, and we have been able to see your competence at that. So then what happens during a reshuffle? That's what I just asked myself. But in regard to what they have been apportioned to as at now, I felt maybe above average. Most of them could really, it was a square peg in a square hole. Most of them would be able to fit the bill. I liked the choice of Honorable Mbadi for Treasury, and you'd be able to see his answers to those questions, and you'd be able to see that this is a gentleman who really fits the bill. I was able to see the experience of Honorable Joho in those matters of the mines and whatever. You could be able to feel like he has also done a bit of background check to just understand how the industry works. So I think for me it was also good enough. I looked at then we came to the agriculture docket. You will be able to see that is an ardent professional from Nyandarua, a real professional within that agricultural space. So that was also quite a fit for the job. And of course our youngest nominee, the 32-year-old, and the speaker said his worth is way more than an average 32-year-old. But I was able to see, you could be able to see his experience in the water sector. He's a gentleman who I think has lived most of his professional life actually just dealing with the water issues, and he had quite an understanding about matters water, especially in central Kenya and a bit of northeastern. You could be able to see that he has actually been in the field. So my wish would be such kind of a person wouldn't need to be reshuffled later on with such kind of experience in water. We wouldn't need to reshuffle such a professional later on and take him to labor, for instance. So for me, it was quite above average that most of these people were able to fit the bill. But also it just also speaks to the reality that they also need to get to the ministry and work with professionals. Sometimes we have a wrong mentality that the minister is the one who must know everything. You know, ministers are basically appointees of the president. They are on policy matters. But ministries are embedded with professionals in the ministry who've been there, who understand that particular job. So it's important that the ministers do not get to work and then put away the professionals, because they must be able to guide you in making the right policy decisions. Your role basically as a minister is to provide leadership. That is why it's possible for you to be actually reshuffled from one place to the other, because your sole responsibility is the provision of leadership in the first place. So they should not be able to run away from the reality of the use of professionals in the different ministries.
Asante sana. That is quite interesting. Now let's take a look at what is being reported on our local dailies, and let me start with the Standard. Actually, the Standard and the Stars speaking quite almost the same. Gachagua, I know they are after me. This is the first story that is splashed on the front page of the Standard. Deputy President tells his backyard there are efforts to intimidate him. There is an impeachment motion against him in the works, and his friends are being bullied by government. But he says he is here to stay. Matthew, what do you think of that?
It has been for quite a number of days now. We have seen the Deputy President being in a catch-22 position, and now the issue of impeachment on his back. I think it's a situation where I don't see it going far. Reason being, there's no way this can go on without the nod of the head of the state, irrespective of the fact that it's being done in the House. There has to be the executive backing for it to materialize, and there's so much on the entry for the executive to handle. We know the Gen Z issues. I don't think anybody will add another baggage of now dealing with the impeachment of his deputy when there is an issue of the Gen Z trying to set up the new cabinet, which will be approved. I think there will be too much, and the focus may only be on the how to constitute the executive, set it up, set the ball rolling on how they can go on with their duties. I think that is what is bothering the executive. That is what is bothering the president. That is what is ahead of him for now. As for Gachagua's impeachment, that will be another burden. That will be another disruption. Remember, the deputy president is part of the executive, which is coming in force. Now, when you talk of the executive being formed without now the number two, I think it will not be so good. However, because this is done at the executive, at the legislature level, not at the executive, this can go on, but I'm sure it will not see the light of the day. I'm seeing a situation where, irrespective of the differences which may be there, we may see a repeat of what happened in the last regime, where the current president was the deputy. Even with the differences, they walked the path. They are joined at a level that trying to divorce them, trying to impeach one, will be a tall order. And look at the implications that this may bring into the public. We know in Kenya we have the voting patterns. We know where Gachagua comes from the mountain. This impeaching him will be like lapa stamping that we are okay with you, the mountain going away. That will not be something very good. And everybody who want good of the public would like to bring things together. So I'm seeing a situation where this impeachment may die naturally, just to ensure that for the good cohesion of the government, good cohesion of the country, unlike bringing disturbances, unnecessary disturbances at a time when we have enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me interest you with a cup of tea before I come to you, but I'm coming to the vetting process of the CSs. In a few words. What do you think of the process?
Oh, thank you very much. Sorry, I'm a bit late.
No problem.
But I'm here.
Yes.
I checked and looked and listened to the vetting of the CSs.
Yeah.
To say the truth, I was disappointed because I didn't think they were asking the right questions. It was like, to me, it was more like friendly match or friendly talk by friends, because the questions asked were like something which they already expected. Secondly, when they started talking of how much they own or earn or they have, the amount of money was amazing. Those people have got so much, I don't know what they do. Me as a business person, I don't know what they do that they have that kind of money. And nobody asked, where do they get this money? They don't do any business. They are employed, the salary, we know how much they earn. So to me, there were no right questions which were being asked for this. I mean, like in any interview, even a jobs interview, you asked your experience, where you went to school, all these things. But to me, it was more of friends having a talk. So the interviews were like something which was not meant to be.
So in your own words, or from where you stand, it did not meet expectations?
My expectations were not met. Kenyans' expectations were not met. That is not interview. I think the best thing is just they go the way they used to go. You are appointed and you take the job. And that's why we're having problems, because the people who are being put in office, we really don't know. We know them, but we really don't know them by what the interviews bring them out to be. Because it's like just a conformity of some kind. Yeah.
So from where you stand, what would have been done differently?
It should have been a real interview, not a duplication of something in quotes. Because if you are interviewing somebody for an interview, especially a position like a CS, you need to know, is this person really capable? What are their past experiences? For example, they are one governors. We have got the history of them, what they did in their counties for those 5 years or so. How did they manage to make sure that the corruption which we are all talking about was stopped? Were they corrupt? What is their record? So from there you can know, what are you putting in office? If somebody was able to be corrupt in being a governor or wherever they were working, what makes you think that when they come to be a CS, they won't continue with their behavior or with their character? Again, when somebody has amassed so much money, and we are all crying in this country that the government doesn't have money, we can't do this because we don't have money. They have amassed so much. Where did they get that money from? Which business were they doing? Is it the salary? If it is the salary, then we can account for it. The government has got a mechanism whereby they can be able to check all this information. So to me, there's a lot of pretense.
Okay, that is, according to you, there's a lot of pretense from how it was.
They are hoodwinked us.
Now, the story on the first page of the Standard is talking about Gachagua and why he is saying they are after me. And I want to get this from you, Mundalo. What do you think of this? And actually, the Deputy President has dared them to come up with a motion.
I don't know who is them. When the Deputy President dares them, I'm left wondering who exactly is them. But then my honest estimation would be that as a country, having just come from a very heated Gen Z uprising, where the young people and Kenyans at large were generally asking for accountability and asking for a better way to be governed, and just asking that the country needs to move towards a better direction. I think it's quite a wrong time for us to start having a political, like people measuring each other now politically. I think it's not the right time for us to have those kind of political shows right now. I think it's time for governance. It's time where all hands must be able to come on deck. And I think pulling the country into a political direction and people starting to try and see who has better political muscle than the other is not the right place for us to be as a country. For me, I was able to see it was highly publicized. The Deputy President will be speaking to all the Mount Kenya TV and radio stations. But then for me, I'm like, when the Deputy President is talking about some of the people targeting his office, and I saw him even talk about a case where one of his officers was near abducted or something like that. My question is, this is the Deputy President whom I see with the President when the President is coming to name cabinet secretaries. It's not like the Deputy President and the President have been away from this country. We see them together. The President, actually there are always three. Yeah. The President, the Deputy President, and the Prime Cabinet Secretary. So I want to believe that those are things the Deputy President can actually ask the President directly. They don't need to really come to us, the public, because we will read into everything. Because we are also a highly political country. So we read into so many things. There is a reason why there is a cabinet meeting. There is a reason why there are management meetings. There are reasons why we who come to KBC would be able to come on this panel, but not in your management meeting. It's because we don't need to know what happens on the background of that. All we need to see, and all the viewer needs to see, is that KBC should be able to deliver a perfect good morning show to them. So for me, I think the Deputy President is still a member of the Security Council. The Deputy President is still having his job description, and actually he was the first Deputy President to have his job outlined and gazetted. Unlike what it is in the Constitution, where it simply says you do what the President apportions you to do. He was actually given a responsibility. He has coffee to deal with. He has tea to deal with. He has a lot in his entry. So for me, I think taking the country to a political direction is not one of the best things that we need in this country. For right now, what the Deputy President will be concentrating on is delivery for the public, is ensuring that the demands of the Gen Zs, the accountability that the Gen Zs were able to demand for, that is what all hands in government today, that is what they should be helping the President to achieve, and not pulling to political directions and trying to see who can be able to muzzle better political weight than the other. And even to the other people who are instigating a lot of talks about impeachment and all that, I think it is not the right time as a country for us to have those kind of conversations. Impeachment or not, for the common Kenyan, what they want is service delivery. What they want is the JSS teachers. We would be talking about how the JSS teachers are being employed. We would be talking about the intern doctors and what needs to be done. We would be talking about what would be the intake to the army and the police this year. Those are the conversations that Kenyans want to have. We have a crisis of unemployment in this country. That is what we should be focusing on. Whether we are going to talk about Mount Kenya or which other region and everyone looking like they want to be a kingpin of wherever, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, in fact, the more populated you are, the more the unemployed people you have. So you should be talking about how are you going to provide jobs for your people? How are you going to ensure that service delivery gets to your people? How are you going to ensure that everything that the people have complained about, the governance systems and all that, how are you ensuring that that gets to us? It's not the right time for us to be pulled to a political direction. I think it's rather unfortunate. Exactly.
What do you think of that headline where, because even the site speaking the same, DP removal plot picks up as Ruto, Raila close ranks. What do you think of that? And given that the Deputy President has seemingly faced opposition from his backyard, from some leaders from his backyard?
As a political analyst, and somebody who has been in politics, politics is part of life. Politics is everywhere, from our businesses to our homes. It's everywhere. And people talk, and people, because politics affects everything we do, our businesses, our jobs. What is happening in Kenya today is happening all over the world. There is that we need this, just as he has said that we need jobs, we need our businesses to work, we need money, and the money doesn't just grow. There must be a good environment for that to happen. Now, Kenya is already on a campaign mood, and it's not only the deputy president who seems to be campaigning. It's like even the president is campaigning. Everybody is campaigning. There is a change of, there is a change of what is happening. Everything seems like it is. We are talking politics. We are talking of alignment. Everything is seeming to be towards that. The GNC has made us start rethinking, and the fear is gone. People are not sitting to get annoyed just in their homes. They are coming out to speak loud and clear. And this one you can't, wish it away, because it has to go on and on and on. The only thing which I'm feeling bad about is that there is nobody listening. Listening part of it is like it has kind of been thrown through the window. Because if there was listening, we wouldn't be talking of tribes, of where we come from, of what is happening. We would be talking, what are these people wanting? What does the business community want right now? What are the young people asking? Where are these jobs coming if there are no industries which are being established? Where do you get jobs? How does the country get money? Taxation can't make a country run, because you tax what there is. If there isn't anything, you can't give somebody food if you don't have it. You must have that money for you to give. So when the president is put in a corner and he is told to do 1, 2, 3, surely you must give him a bit of time to rethink this thing, change, and he has also to listen. I was watching something yesterday. A young person was talking to the president and saying, we are educated, we are bright, we can work. Why are you putting them back, the old people, in places when you are changing the cabinet? We shouldn't be having younger people, not people who have been there 30, 40 years. That is a very genuine request, isn't it? Because we want to change, and change is not just changing people, it's changing even the generations. Yes. So that this generation has done their part. Let another generation come in, and they are there. So to me, politics has to go on, but we must direct that politics in a positive way, not in a tribal way. There are only 2 tribes in Kenya, those who have and those who don't have.
So this talk about deputy president removal is ill-timed, according to you?
It is really ill-timed. It's the wrong time. We shouldn't be having I never expected this to happen, especially between the 2 people, the president and the deputy president. And it's high time they stop it, because it's going to affect everything else we have been doing in this country.
Mr. Murphy, I wanted to come in on this, because the other day we saw even Kalonzo Musyoka wade into this discussion. What does it speak in the political alignments coming to 2027?
Thank you. We saw Kalonzo coming and saying he would defend, or his team would defend any attempt of impeachment of the deputy president. Just like my sister said, it's the issue of the country being in a political mood and rearrangements, because when Kalonzo came in, that meant that the hidden message is that even if you are impeached, even if anything happens to you on that side, I'm ready to come and embrace you. I'm ready to come so that we join hands and maybe form a team. It goes even beyond Kalonzo. It goes even to the Western, the Tao movement of the governor of Trans Nzoia. What does this mean? This means that the political alignments for 2027 have already started cooking. And this is not good for the country, because we should not, after elections, we should go to work, put good environments for businesses, for work, for everything, and campaign time or politicking time will come. But the impeachment of Gachagua, the talk of the impeachment is political. These people coming saying they are defending him, it's a sign of let's join hands. Also, going slightly back to where we have come from, look at the appointment of this cabinet.
Actually, that is what I was coming to.
Was it meant to come and bring change into the economic states of the country, or it was coming to solve a political issue? My view is that it was more political than that is why you see those who are brought in, we were weighing them more on their political muscle, or what can they bring. Look at Nyanza getting 2. What does that mean? You people, if you can bring your voting block into the basket, it gives more weight.
Yes.
Look at going to the and then the next question in this Nyanza, who can bring because you can pick somebody from Nyanza and then it doesn't bring the necessary weight. Who can bring this weight? They are the lighted people of the opposition leader. This is the chairman of the party. This is the minority leader. So it's more political than what can he do. I don't doubt their capabilities, but it was more of political. Look at the coast. This is somebody who has been a governor. So that means he has a foreign. Look at what happened immediately after he was mentioned. When the president went there, there was the cheers at our man. So it is more of what is he being on the political side, but not what is he coming to do to improve there. Look at also in Nyanza. This is somebody who has also been a governor twice. Yes. This is a force that has pushed the ODM wing of Western. Yes. This is Opalanya is the person who has been the flag bearer of ODM. Yes. And remember, ODM has given the parties which include from the region. This one of Moses Kuria and this one of Mudavadi. They have gotten quite a good competition from ODM, simply being pushed by Oparanya. So it was, are we getting somebody from that region who come and try to improve the economy of the Republic, try to assist the president on the request of Gen Z, try to come and bring maybe jobs opportunity, try to come and improve our international relationship, try to come and bring more jobs from outside to come in, more investors. All, it is somebody who will bring more weight politically. So politics is messiness.
Mudalo, do you agree with what he says that the appointments have some level of political inclination, and given that the political formation of 2027 are in a way coming to the fore?
You must be able to look at it from what is the name of the appointments. They are called political appointments. Yes. Cabinet secretaries are political appointments.
Yes.
It cannot be a political appointment without a political undertone, without a political inclination. Yeah. And remember, everything in any country and any society, before you solve any problem, you must solve the political problem. So it is not wrong for the president to make political appointments politically. If anything, that is what they are even called. And we must also agree that the political problem in Kenya always tries to supersede every other problem. So until you are able to get the politics correct, you cannot get the economics correct. You cannot be able to get any other thing correct, because it doesn't matter, because we are in a country where it doesn't matter how well the economy is running. if a section of the country believes that that is not their government, you're not going to change their mind.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And that's why you are able to see that in the previous cabinet, we still had some people from Nyanza. We still had Eliud Owalo as a cabinet secretary. But when you have John Mbadi, then the community and the entire Nyanza region feels like now we are part and parcel of the government. And that is the reality. So for me, it was okay for the president to solve a political problem because we were able to see the celebrations in Coast, despite the fact that they still had Aisha Juma. But when you put Ali Hassan Joho, there is actually a real feeling on the ground that now we are part and parcel of this government. When you are able to have Honorable John Mbadi, Honorable Pio Wandai, then you are able to say Nyanza region is able to feel like, yes, we are now part and parcel of this government. So it's true that those positions will always be political appointments. And the president will also have to remember that he gets into office politically. The president is not appointed to office. He gets into office politically. And therefore, he must secure his politics. He must secure his re-election bid. So it is a reality that we have to live with. And for me, it is neither here nor there. What we need to ensure happens is that there is delivery, that there is service delivery, that the appointments will always be political, there will always be that political undertone, there will always be a way that the president must be able to look at what is the political future. Just yesterday we were able to see the merger of ANC and UDA. That is politics, to secure the political future. You cannot be, some would say it's a wrong thing to do, but that is the nature of how governments are actually formed. So, for me, it is the reality, and there's nothing wrong about it. What matters is that for as long as the political problem has now been solved, we must quickly move into now the governance problem, the economic problem, so that at the end of the day, you are able to move society in the right direction. Otherwise, if you don't solve the political problem, you cannot be able to solve any of the other problems, because there will always be questions about what is our stake and all that.
So they are both intertwined?
They are actually intertwined. They are actually Siamese twins. They are at the hip. You must be able to solve the political problem. If you do not solve the political problem, there's nothing else that you can be able to do. So for me, it's actually a right thing that and you're able to see, we've been here, all of us are in this country. And after the president making those appointments, we must also all agree that there has been a bit of calm in the Republic. Yeah, there has been a bit of calm. There has been a general feeling like now everything is okay. So, and that is you see, there is a difference between a political reality and what would be our personal feel. Because you would be able to feel like things are not still heading the right direction. There is still the talk about nane nane. There is still the talk of that. But can you be able to compare? For instance, we have had demonstrations post the appointment, vis-a-vis the demonstrations before. You can be able to feel the weight. So that is actually the reality. And most of the politicians working today, and you alluded to what Honorable Kalonzo has been doing, in my view, and I have a lot of respect for Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka as a person, but I do not really subscribe to his politics, because for me it's basically the politics of trying to up your bargain. Because there is nothing so much about the people right now. This Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, who at the heart of post-election violence, he joined President Kibaki and became vice president at the heart of a post-election violence. What is this that has changed today that we are now feeling like Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka is now pro the people completely? For me, it's just a bargain. It's just an uplift of a bargain.
Let Mwathi respond to that.
I agree partly with my brother that these appointments are political appointments. True. But political appointments to do what? We go back to the 2010 Constitution. Why are those who developed the 2010 Constitution, why did they divorce or remove the executive or the ministers or from being appointed in Parliament? Because they wanted these appointments, irrespective of the fact that they are political, they want them to be more of technocrats. They wanted them to be apolitical, not inclined towards any so that they can perform well. Yes. Because when you perform, when you have a political inclination, yes, you definitely mess it up. I've repeated a statement in this studio before, and I'll still repeat it. What the current president said when he was the deputy president when they were elected. Yes. He said, this cabinet will have, the cabinet that we were going to form then, will have only 2 politicians. Those were his ones. Me and the president. The others, we don't want even to know whether they voted for us or not. We don't even want to know the political parties they came from. And that was the intention of the 2010 Constitution. That's why he said, instead of restricting the president to get the cabinet, to get his cabinet from the parliament, we opened the doors so that he can get his appointments, yes, from the entire public. Yes. To get the best from the 50+ million people.
Yes. I'm told we are running out of time. I want you to respond in a few seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. I just have just listened and I'm like, you know, Kenya is a not only Kenya, all the whole world is political. Nothing you can do without politics. So whatever we say, politics must be at the center of it. Okay. Now, just say something about Kalonzo. I can defend Kalonzo here because Kalonzo is not against what is happening. It is the way it is happening. Because when somebody says that I want peace, and if we go this direction, we are going to get into war, don't make that person to feel weak. He's not weak. And what he did then and what is being done, is it not the same thing?
Okay, finish that point because I'm told. We are completely out of time.
Yes. So what Kalonzo is doing is not supporting the deputy president. Yes. He is supporting a process. Yes. As he says, the constitution must be followed. Yes. The 2010 constitution has broken so many things. Yes. The two-third for women, for gender, is not there. Yes. So there's a lot which we can talk about this constitution which has not been implemented.
Thank you. Thank you. For the interest of time, I'm told we are going to cut this conversation.
Sorry.
But thank you so much. Yeah. So much, because it's just only getting started. But thank you for making time to come on Good Morning Kenya and talk about what is happening. That is Advice Mundalo, who is a communication specialist, and Ireri Mwathi, who is a political analyst, and Winnie Kaburu, a political analyst, also joining us here on People and Politics. This is where we cap this conversation, but don't go too far. We are crossing over to radio side where Dora Manya is having another conversation on matters governance. Keep it KBC Channel 1.